Good evening. We'd like to call this meeting to order. City Attorney, do we have anything to report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing to report out of closed session.
All right, thank you very much. Trying to see. Richard Holloman, would you like to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ayala?
Here.
Councilmember Rhodes? Here. Councilmember Litzter?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Judge?
Here.
Mayor Kavanaugh?
Here. Agenda review. Are there any items for the agenda review?
Madam Mayor, there are 2 items for agenda review. The first is a clarification for item 3A1, the Housing Solutions Ad Hoc Committee appointment item will be presented by the Environmental Services Department. And the second is consent item 6. Due to an element of clarification for the contract, this item is being moved to the March 31st agenda.
All right, thank you.
I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. If any member of the City Council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration on any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time. Seeing none, we'll move on.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 1D1, presentation of an honorary resolution in celebration of Senior Concern's 50th anniversary, and Deputy Community Services Director Ana Medina is here to present this item.
I would like to ask that the following individuals come forward as I call your name. Andrea Gallagher, Kara Buss, and Julie Harvey. Senior Concerns is celebrating its 50th anniversary, a remarkable milestone that reflects its unwavering commitment to enhancing the health, well-being, and quality of life for seniors and family caregivers. Each year, Senior Concerns serves 13,000 seniors and caregivers, providing a broad range of critical services that improve their lives. Senior Concerns is a private, nonprofit, volunteer-driven social service agency formed with a mission to support and improve the lives of seniors and their families in Ventura County and the surrounding area. The agency relies on donations, grants, and fundraising events to continue offering these essential services to the community. Senior Concerns Senior Advocates offer Simi Valley seniors and their families vital information and referral services, ensuring they have access to the right resources for their specific needs. Through quarterly educational seminars at the Simi Valley Senior Center, Senior Concerns provides seniors with valuable insights on a variety of issues that impact their physical and mental health. Beyond advocating for seniors, the agency offers critical support to family caregivers, ensuring they have the tools and resources to provide the best care possible. The City Council of the City of Simi Valley commends Senior Concerns for its 50th anniversary of providing vital services to seniors in Ventura County. Through its dedication, compassionate services, and tireless efforts, Senior Concerns has made a lasting impact on the lives of those it serves.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. And we'd like to present this proclamation, and resolution. I'm not going to read all the whereases. There's just way too many there. But I do know you guys do such a wonderful job. And do you want to advertise your upcoming gala? I do, but we're sold out. You're sold out. That's awesome. Then that's even better. Congratulations on that. I saw that on a list of things to attend recently, so I knew that was coming up. You do a wonderful job. We really appreciate everything you do at our senior center as well as throughout the county. So thank you for all you've done. Would you like to have a few words?
I think you all said it so beautifully. I just really want to thank everyone for their support, and we love serving seniors and family caregivers. It's what drives us, so thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Councilmember Rhodes, are you doing something back there? Okay, thank you. Congratulations again. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. We have no speakers for this item this evening. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A1, appointment of a City Council member to the Housing Solutions Ad Hoc Committee, and Senior Management Analyst Cynthia McCullough is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. The City Council discussed and created the Housing Solutions Ad Hoc Committee at its December 16th, 2024 meeting. The committee's purpose is to consider items such as the creation of emergency shelter, a comprehensive approach to housing solutions, such as ongoing funding requirements, zoning considerations, building codes, compatibility of Housing First, and additional community partnerships for long-term sustainability. At the December 16th meeting, the late Mayor Thomas and Councilmember Rhodes were selected and appointed to serve on the committee. The passing of the late Mayor Thomas has necessitated an appointment for an additional council member to the committee. Therefore, it is recommended that the City Council appoint one council member to serve on the Housing Solutions Ad Hoc Committee. This concludes the report, and staff is available for questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Litster.
I actually just have a question. I noticed, because we have an item coming up where we're going to look at all of the boards, commissions, committees, presentations. We currently, and I understand the difference between ad hoc versus subcommittee, but we currently have an affordable housing subcommittee. How is this differentiate, and is this, could it be one and the same, or should it? Okay, so I know it's different, but I would love clarification on how it is different.
Do you want me to take that? Okay, so for the ad hoc committee, it really is to kind of look at funding and what the city's doing, what state regulations are, kind of what's available for zoning considerations, kind of what everything looks like for the city right now. The Affordable Housing Subcommittee really focuses on the affordable agreements that we have coming in with the city, and usually the Affordable Housing Subcommittee meets when the city's going to give out money and loan out money for an affordable housing project that's coming to the city.
And I guess I understand that that's what the subcommittee's role is. Could they also assume this ad hoc role, or could that be placed as part of their responsibility?
I would say that because the roles are separate and the goal really of the ad hoc committee is temporary, I would not recommend that the subcommittee absorb that. Certainly, the two people that currently serve on the subcommittee could also serve on the ad hoc committee, but I wouldn't recommend that the subcommittee absorb the responsibilities of the ad hoc committee.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the person who brought forward this ad hoc committee, I wanted to sort of, in addition to the presentation, put some sort of boundaries on this. One, the subcommittee goes on, and an ad hoc committee, very specifically, is nimble for a specific purpose. And what we were looking at is, for our unhoused population, what is possible in terms of getting some temporary, emergency, short-term housing help assistance for that community. And if it is possible and it is something that is sustainable, coming back to council with some sort of a business plan or idea suggestion saying, this is what is possible out there. So it has sort of an end goal in mind, so as an ad hoc committee should.
Any other comments? Does anybody have an interest in serving on the committee? Mayor Pro Tem Judge?
Sure, I can serve on it, if that's.
Thank you. Mayor anyone else? A second? Thank you. I'll call for the roll, or call for the vote, please.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. That's efficiency.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A2, appointment of representation of City Council Board members on boards, commissions, and committees, and consideration of recommended changes. Madam Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the City Council, at the meeting of January 13, 2025, the City Council reviewed the list of continued representation by the City Council members on various standing committees as they do annually, and made changes as desired. Since your appointment to mayor on January 27th, Mayor Pro Tem Judge's appointment on February 10th, and Councilmember Joseph Ayala's appointment to Councilmember District 1 on February 24th, it is recommended that the City Council review the appointments to local, regional boards, commissions, and committees, and make changes you desire, move to fill these positions. Department heads are available to answer questions specific to any board, committee, or commission. The complete list of appointments as proposed is shown as attachment A to the staff report. The committees with 1 asterisk, historically the appointee has been the mayor, and 2 asterisk, the mayor pro tem. This concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Where do we want to start? I notice I've been given some additional committees in response to our late mayor. So I have the ADA and the Clean Power Alliance, Regional Partnership, Defense Partnership, and the Tourism Alliance, and the Youth Council Liaison. The Youth Council Liaison is difficult for me to make, so I didn't know, Ms. Councilmember Litster, you're the second person on there, but we should have a first person?
Yes.
2 people,
Well,
sorry.
And what's interesting is that this isn't necessarily alternate, and it's just it's 2 representatives, I believe.
I'm sorry, yes, correct.
So, yes, in fact, and I will tell you that Mike Judge served in that capacity for many years very well. It would be nice to have a second. Obviously, we need to have a second. I don't know if Mr. Ayala would like to be, if you can't make it, Dee Dee,
I would
I'm not
I
trying
would
to
like to have
volunteer
it.
anyway.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that if another council member would like that position, I would be more than willing to let them take that, because it's difficult for me to make those meetings. So is anyone interested?
I would be interested in that.
Okay, Councilmember Ayala, anyone else interested? Okay, may I have a motion?
Do we want a motion?
Or do I need one?
I was going to ask if you're going to make other changes, maybe you can
All
go.
at the end?
Make it all at the end.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
And I will, Councilmember Ayala, you don't have to go to every one of their meetings. We go to as we can.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussions? Councilmember Rhodes?
Are we discussing all of the appointments right now, or just one? How are we going to do this?
Usually, well, I was just going over the ones that had been assigned to me newly, because I prefer to keep the 2 I have. I'm the current chair for VCAS, so I don't want to give that position up, and the EDC. But the others, I have Americans with Disabilities Act that's also been assigned to me, and the Clean Power Alliance.
Now, I thought that I see, alternate position. I was going to say Councilmember Rhodes.
Oh, I'm alternate on Clean Power.
is
Perfect.
definitely
Okay,
doing
that's
a lot of
fine
work
then.
there.
Okay, we'll leave that. Well, and we want to make sure we give Councilmember Ayala some committees.
So I have, if it's okay, I can make some suggestions for myself. The Americans with Disabilities Act, I'd be willing to take that to take that off your plate. Also, the Simi Valley Council on Aging, but that depends on the two council members who currently have that assigned to them. Also, the Councilmember Lister, don't know how much you're married to the Animal Services Commission.
Actually, I was going to suggest that.
That's me. I'm the
No,
chair.
She's the chair, but I'm the
Oh, the
alternate.
alternate?
And I would
Yes,
love
yeah.
you to be the alternate.
Okay.
I will tell you that that Mayor Kavanaugh is always in attendance. So that may be a light shift for you, but
And
But he can attend also.
but you can attend
Correct.
also, yes.
And also the Regional Energy Alliance, if you want me to take that as the alternate as well. I can have that as the number one. Anytime I can help out Councilman Judge, it's a win. So I would suggest those for now. I think what I mentioned was the ADA, the Council on Aging, the Animal Services Commission, and the Regional Energy Alliance.
All right, well,
I will tell you that I'm not sure I'm willing to give up aging.
Okay.
And I don't know that, and I don't think Mike is either.
okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, I was going to
okay.
say, keep those two. Okay.
I know the mayor usually runs the RDP meetings or goes to those, RCP, yeah, RDP, I'm sorry.
The RDP?
Ventura, have you gone to those or
No, I have not.
would you like to try something like that? That's a meeting in Ventura, but it's an interesting one.
Which one is it?
It's the Regional Defense Partnership for the 21st Century. Basically, if I understand, you could explain that well.
It's basically just if they decide they're going to try and close Port Hueneme.
Correct.
You're going to be there to say no.
Yeah.
But, and also, I understand that they lobby, they go back to lobby national for the,
So having growing up playing baseball on that base, I know the area well. So I would be willing to take that on.
Perfect. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Councilmember Ayala. Okay. So let me see if I have this correctly. So the Americans with Disabilities Act will now be Councilmember Ayala. The Regional Defense Partnership will now be Councilmember Ayala. The Ventura County Regional Energy Alliance will now be Councilmember Ayala. And the Youth Council Liaison will now be Councilmember Ayala.
and the alternate for the Animal Services Commission.
Oh, alternate, thank you.
Do
Okay.
we also need to specify the neighborhood council appointments, since they're changing?
This is the new rotation, I believe.
It's listed in the staff
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, okay.
So that was easy. He just slipped into where I was, so that worked out well. Any other discussion, comments?
Mayor Kavanaugh, just to confirm, there is no change to the VCREA, correct?
VCREA, yes. Councilmember Ayala will be the primary.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, concerns, questions? May I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B1, presentation regarding a campus update of Moore Park College by President Dr. Julia Sokanu. Yeah, I need to. It came off again.
Welcome, Dr. Sokanu.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna get it back up there. It locked out.
First of all, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Madam Mayor, the City Council, the City Manager, for recognizing the importance and the impact of our college on the communities that we serve, and Simi Valley being a central community that we serve. You send us the most students of all the cities that we are serving in this particular county. Before I start, I do want to sort of recognize some folks who are here with me this evening. Our trustee for Area 4, Mr. Joe Pichowski is right here with me, and I appreciate his support. My Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. John Forbes, is right here with me, and I appreciate his support as well. And our Dean of Career Education, Physical Sciences, Mr. Robert Cabral, is here with us as well. Serving on my Mopa College Foundation is our very, very dear supportive colleague and friend. Catherine, you helped make our college strong by the partnership with Adventist Health Simi Valley, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. And from our career center is Lizette. Lizette is a specialist in our health center, and we're very grateful for the work that she does there. So, first of all, I want to start off by saying that a very big thank you and a recognition of the partnerships that we have with businesses and civic organizations in the city of Simi Valley. You will see the list right here, and this is not an exhaustive list, by the way. This is just a list of some of the folks who are supporting our career programs, who take our students in as interns, who employ our students, who partner with us, who help us communicate the message of the college out to the rest of the community, and who are pathways or pipelines to the college, such as the Boys and Girls Club of Simi Valley and Moore Park. Today, I want to focus on how we as a college, as an institution, are helping to grow our community, how we care for our community, how we connect with the community, and equally as important, how we uplift the community. So, we are very, very proud of the fact that as we're one of the few community colleges in the state who are growing. We're growing by 4% increase, and you should bear in mind that we lost about 11,000 students during the COVID pandemic. Students stopped out, students stopped coming, and so the fact that we're at a 4% increase year over year, the same time last year, is not only a testament to the members who are on our campus who do that work, but the partnerships that we have with the city and the partnerships that we have with the communities that we serve. So how are we growing and why are we growing? What you will see is that we have career programs that meet the needs of our community. They respond very concretely to the needs of our business partners, and they create opportunities that then help to build the economic well-being of our county and certainly build wealth and capacity for our families. So you will see there, we have our paramedic studies program, when we look at programs to grow and investing, we look at the labor market demand, we look at the demand in our service area, and this is one program where there's not only demand in our service area, but we know that health and well-being, as well as our first responders, are so important to the security and safety of our community. We were approached by the folks in our biotech sector, and we were approached by that community and those leaders, and we were told first and foremost that our students are the very best that they have as their employees. They get their associate's degree from us. And they wanted to see opportunities to partner together to grow curriculum, to develop curriculum that could then allow us to offer a baccalaureate degree, a bachelor's degree. As you probably know, our California community colleges have now been authorized to offer bachelor's degrees. And so the very first bachelor's degree that Mopa College is offering, or began offering, we started offering last August. Bachelor's degree in biomanufacturing. It is biotech, but the production and manufacturing end of biotech. The reality of it is that we know that our county is growing as a result of the investments in the biotech sector. We also know that these positions, the average individual who earns an associate degree makes about $54,000 a year. The person with a baccalaureate degree or bachelor's degree makes about $85,000 a year. So when you see that difference, you know that we're helping to support families in growing success and capacity, not only for the industry, but for our communities. As an institution, we're also growing by developing sustainable spaces. So what you see there on the right is our volleyball court and our outdoor training facility. Mopa College has an award-winning championship winning women's volleyball team as well as a men's volleyball team. When we looked at repurposing our tennis courts The idea was that we either look at pickleball or we look at volleyball. And we went with volleyball, even though I think probably pickleball is probably the most popular amongst most people in the audience. We went with volleyball because we have an award-winning team, right? And everything we do is connected to our curriculum, right? And it's connected to the sports that we have. So this particular location has the high-end technology. It's an NCAA caliber courts, 8 of them. And what's very important about it is the fact that it allows us to attract those volleyball teams from across our community so they can utilize the space. So those youth groups and youth organizations can utilize the space. It is also a revenue generator for us. So the primary focus will be not only our students and their success, but also we'll focus on how we can rent out the facility so that we can support the costs of the facility. What you will see with the Outdoor Training Center is that it is one of very few on college campuses across the country. It allows our athletes to train year-round. Equally important, it allows our athletes to train in the role of being a personal trainer who works outdoors. So they have that specialization, and that specialization is one post-COVID that a lot of gyms are looking for. What you see right there is a rendering of our studio. We have a studio on campus that we've just designed, and that studio is intended to help our faculty record sessions, record lectures that are then high-quality lectures that we can then broadcast over the net or utilize in the classroom. So you know that we have a zoo on our campus, and you also know that our zoo has this incredible newly built habitat for our tigers. We have 2 Bengal tigers, Neela and Karma, and Neela and Karma now have an 8,000 square feet home with their own pool, which you probably don't see there, but they also have this incredible walkthrough that allows them to sort of walk back and forth, and in a sense keeps them healthy and agile, but it also approximates the environment in which they would have lived in the wild. We're very proud of that work. And we're also proud of that work because the zoo brings in about 400 students every day, Monday through Friday, from the local school districts, both in Ventura and LA County. But also we're very proud of that work because our zoo is increasing in its attendance. So what you see there is we have 54,000, okay, let's make this work. Let's go back. There we go. You want to see the zoo? We really want to see this. Oh, there we go. I want to share with you the fact that we've had a 25% increase in attendance at the zoo from last year to this year. And part of that is the partnerships that we've had with social media, but also the partnerships that we've had with television stations that serve our area. The important piece about that is that we get more and more families who are coming to the zoo and more community members who are utilizing the zoo, which helps us to raise revenue. The zoo is part of the institution. It's like a lab for our zoo program, but it's also a revenue generator. So the amphitheater is a project that we're working on, and the last time I was here, I think I spoke with you about this, and I introduced the idea of the amphitheater. As you probably remember, it came out of the struggles of the COVID pandemic era, and we did not have enough outdoor performance spaces or outdoor classroom spaces, and so it came from that desire to create the space for learning that happens in the performing arts. Partnering with various local arts organizations and partnering with the cities that we serve, we underwent a feasibility study for this particular project, and also we undertook an opportunity to engage our community members so that we can build something that not only serves our students and serves its instructional purposes, but that will bring to our campus high-quality entertainment and entertainers from across the country. So right now, what we're doing is we're raising funds for this project. We continue to build pledges and partnerships to allow us to do that work, but it is in the pipeline for us to continue to develop this opportunity for our campus. What you see there is a concert with Pat Bennett and Neil Girardi that happened last summer, and we're looking forward to continuing programs of this caliber later on this year and into the new year. We also see this as an opportunity for us to partner with the various arts organizations in our community, within our end of the county and the western end of the county, to really increase the footprint of arts and arts education in our community. So, Moorpark College, first and foremost, is an institution of higher education, and part of the work that we do is to help support our students' success. And so some of that is the ways in which we provide food for those students who are needing food, housing, as well as other kinds of basic needs. So we have a basic needs center on campus, and that basic needs center not only supports the needs of those particular students, but it also partners with community organizations to support the needs of those who are in our community. I'm very proud of the fact that we realize that a student who is hungry, a student who is couch surfing cannot be successful, and thus we look for resources to support their completion at our institution. Part of the work that we do is to uplift our community. When you look at our county and you look at the average family household income, when you look at the educational attainment in our families, you will see that it is uneven. So part of the work that we do as an institution is to look at who we're serving and then providing services and opportunities for those students to be successful. So if I look at our college demographic, you will see that we really are a sort of a majority-minority institution. What you will see also is that we have a lot of first-generation students. We have a lot of students with disability. We have students at our institution who are from other parts of the world. And we have students at our institution that represent a variety of ways of life. And so for us, part of the work that we're doing is to help support those students' success and targeting programs that help to support the success of those individual students. What you also need to know is that we have 251 veterans who are part of our student population, and they come from all parts of our service area. Our goal is to make sure that no one is turned away. Our goal is to make sure that the investment that you as a community make in our campus, the investment that you make in our institution, yields for us. And part of the way it yields for us is that we make sure that everybody who comes to our institution is successful or has the potential to be successful. Equally as important, those who don't come to our institution, that they find their way to our institution so that they can be successful. So here are some of the services that we offer and we provide our students so that they can be successful. You will see how there's a lot of niche programs that are aimed at supporting our students. I want to call out the two-way texting program that we do at our institution. So if you apply to Moorpark College, what will happen is within the 24 hours after you apply at Moorpark College, you will get a text from somebody. And that text will tell you that you have a person at Moorpark College. So you're connected to the institution, you're connected to our students right from the start. We're very proud of that work. We're very proud of the fact that we have course-embedded tutors in each of our classes so that our students can have somebody there at their fingertips who's helping them be successful. I put this slide up there because we really truly believe that you're investing in this community and communities that we serve invest in us, and that we have to show a return on investment. Part of the way in which we show our return on investment is the ways in which we help to develop robust career pathways for our students and within our community. Lizette here works with the students in our career center. We're increasing the number of students who get work-based learning opportunities such as internships and job shadowing, because if a student gets an internship, their potential of getting hired by that company is pretty high, but more importantly, they get a sense of what it means to be in the job. And because they get a sense of what it means to be in the job, then they have a potential to be successful when they do get a full-time job. We're also working with local companies so that we can provide them with interns and with employees. And some of them, we actually have grants that we actually pay for them to take our students. And that, again, is one of the ways in which we add value to our community. Dual enrollment is something that we do as a college that is actually the Simi Valley Unified School District is one of our best partners in that. So you will see that 3 of the schools on that list actually are in Simi Valley. And we are very proud of the fact that you can go from Simi Valley schools to Moorpark College to anywhere else you want to go in the world, and with various career tracks, various career opportunities. And so I want to conclude by saying that Moorpark College is your local community college. We're the 4th best community college in the nation. Currently, we're in the running for the Aspen Prize. It's $1 million, and it also recognizes the best community college in the nation. There are 1,200 community colleges in the nation. To be the fourth best out of those 1,200 is a great accomplishment. But I think it's much more important that they know that we are the best in the nation. And we hope that by April 17th, they will tell us that. Thank you so much for giving me the time to share our college with you. If you have any questions, I appreciate it.
Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you.
Sorry, we do have some questions up here, so that's a good thing. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. For the bachelor's degree program,
Yes.
are the fees the same as if they're earning an AA degree?
No, they're not the same, but they're much, much less than a CSU or UC. They're $78 a unit, right? Correct me? It's like 84. 84 by the time we're done? Okay, so it's $84 a unit. Associate's degree is $46 per unit. And the CSUs is how much?
A lot more than that. Yes.
A lot more.
Entire program for 4 years
Is $11,000?
is right under 11,000
Yes.
for a bachelor's degree. That's all 4 years.
So is the idea that you're going to expand the bachelor program for other subjects?
So we are allowed by legislative impact that we can only offer applied baccalaureate degrees. So they have to be applied degrees. So we couldn't offer a baccalaureate degree, for example, in English. But we can certainly offer one in cybersecurity, which is the next one that is coming up. And we tied the decisions to high-wage, high-skill, high-demand industries.
Well, thank you so much. Good luck on the award.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Judge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just curious, how much of your funding do you rely on the federal government for?
We have about, in terms of the college itself, just in terms of college operations, about $3 million. And then as a college district, about $60 million.
That's all from the feds?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Councilmember Litzter.
Thank you, Dr. Sokunu. Very much appreciate your wonderful, wonderful things that you're doing for our community. And I was going to ask you about the cybersecurity bachelor's degree and how how close is that?
We are really at that point where we've gotten approval from our accrediting agency. We've gotten approval from our system. So we're now working with the UCs and the CSUs to sort of align what their concerns around us offering the degree. But we know that we will be offering it. We just have that one last hurdle to overcome, and we should be able to offer the degree once that is over. My hope is that we should be able to come back this time next year and say we've already begun offering it. That's the goal.
That'd be lovely. I think your slide said that you have 14,650 students in the last fall semester, possibly.
Yes.
What is your percentage of online courses versus in-person courses?
Great question. It's about 58 to 42 at this point. And that 58 also includes courses that are hybrid. So they meet on campus once a week and then the rest is online.
Wonderful. Okay. And so the filming area or the production
Studio,
you showed us would be used by a professor or someone who is going to be doing an online offering. Wonderful. And I love the fact that I know you have a wonderful community food pantry. I have been concerned for purchase food on campus. Is that in the works? I know you have food trucks on occasion.
Yes.
What is the status if someone wanted to stay?
Hot food on campus, yes. So I want to share with our community that we are actively working towards bringing hot food back on campus. And we've just had a set of vendors come through and look at our facility. You probably know that when we sort of, eliminated hot food during the budget crisis of the 2010s, that we remodeled our cafeteria. So we now need to sort of bring somebody in who can utilize the space as it is and with very, very minimal renovation. So we're working with a company that can provide hot foods, and we'll go through the bidding process and all of that. But my hope and my expectation is that sooner rather than later. But we certainly have identified vendors who are able to provide those services with the space that we have.
would love to see that because I think that keeps students there and happy and healthy. And has the concern been that that is actually something you have to financially support, or is that something that could be a profit center for the college itself?
So the ideal would be for food to be a profit center. What we know from our prior experience is that it usually isn't, that it has to be sustained and supported. Our hope is that we can find a business model that allows us to at least keep it, sustain it and at cost, and from there keep serving students, because that's what we know students need to have the hot food to be able to stay on campus. Otherwise, they go across the campus and they go across the street and then they go home. Yeah. And we don't then create that community of support. But we are hoping that we can sustain this vendor that we've been looking at within the institution and within the parameters of the contract that we've been looking to set out.
Well, again, thank you for all that you're doing. And yes, you are most deserving of that $1 million Aspen Prize. And fourth is fabulous, but we know you're number one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Sokanu. And yes, best of luck on that Aspen Prize. I think we all have our fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
We know you're number one, so everyone else should know that too.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B2, a verbal presentation regarding the Durango patrol vehicles by Commander Craig Dungan. Following this verbal report, we will take a brief recess to go outside to view the vehicles. Commander.
Good evening. My name is Craig Dungan. I'm a police commander with the Simi Valley Police Department, and I am a manager of the Community Policing Bureau. I am here on behalf of Chief Shorts, who would normally be giving you this presentation. We're going to talk about our police vehicles, the Dodge Durango, and the reason why we purchased them and what the future holds for that platform. So really, bottom line up front is there became a supply chain problem with the Ford Explorer. So Ford decided to do some retooling in 2024, integrating hybrid SUVs into their manufacturing. So this created a problem for us with respect to the availability of all the gasoline-powered police vehicles that Ford produces for most of the nation. Right? Ford has got this police vehicle thing cracked down pretty good. But with that, it put a lot of police departments in a bind, so we had to kind of look at other solutions. And because they couldn't give us an order date or they couldn't give us a price, we were kind of running around in the dark. So we researched the best alternative vehicle platforms, and based on cost, size, performance, and availability, our goal was to keep the change relatively unnoticeable. So as you see when you go out there, it kind of looks very similar to a Ford police vehicle. So the Dodge Durango and the Ford Explorer are both V6 all-wheel drive, similar to overall size and performance. So last year, we purchased 11 Dodge Durango police utility vehicles, six marked units and 5 unmarked units. The purchase price for the black and white Durango last year was $56,433, in comparison to the Ford Explorer being priced at $57,421. Our police department installs vehicle equipment in-house to save costs associated with the upfitting. And, well, with the exception of canine vehicles, which they tie into a lot of factory vehicle safety systems. So we outsource that to vendors who can build that part for the canine. The equipment that we install remain consistent with the equipment used for the Ford Explorer in order to keep the vehicles uniform for the officers. And like I said before, many local agencies face similar issues with Ford Explorer and went to the Dodge Durango. This year, Ford Explorer became available for order once again, and we opted to purchase 6 of those units. So mainly because we consider that platform to be tested and proven for our need. But if the Durango proves to be a good platform for us, we may look at purchasing more in the future. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of why we did what we did. And if I can answer some questions, but our maintenance manager, Ryan Underwood, is here for like the technical stuff. I can talk about the gas pedal and the steering wheel and the brakes, but that's as far as I can talk. If there's any questions, we can, if we go outside and you have questions, I'm sure we can probably address them as they.
We have a couple of questions that we'll start with. Is that all right, Commander?
Oh, yes.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Ayala, or is that from last time? Okay, thank you. So Councilmember Rhodes?
Thank you, Commander Duncan. I'm looking forward to seeing the vehicles. I have a straight question and then not. First straight question is, what is your perception of the safety features and safety nets for our officers of this platform versus the Ford platform?
That is unknown to me. We just launched them not too long ago, so they're very new for us. I know in speaking with Ryan that some of the officers feel that it's not as, it's a little more confined, but not to the point of being uncomfortable. I'm unsure about any major differences that would cause an officer safety issue with them. There is one thing that's somewhat of a concern, and that is the passenger side does not have a key. Because it's an electronic door opener. It assumes that there's a key fob, but we can't give key fobs to every officer because of the cost. So we're working on a solution around that, which that can be problematic in particular situations where officers can find themselves in. So that is a particular concern.
Well, as someone who totaled a Durango at First and Fitzgerald with the kids in the car and everyone walked away perfectly fine, I like the platform. So my less than serious question is, if Moorpark College had a baccalaureate program on retrofitting vehicles, just a vocational idea.
Councilmember Litzter?
Just one really important question. Which has the faster pickup?
Oh, I don't know. The Ford Explorer is like the nuts and bolts. Is it?
You've taken it to the test?
I think this calls for a test.
I'm just curious.
Any other questions right now? Okay, I think we're ready to recess for a couple of minutes to go out and see the new patrol vehicles.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to come back into session. Thank you, Commander Dungan, for the demonstration of the new Durangos. We appreciate that. Any additional questions from the council?
I just had a discussion in the back, and we've decided that at Cops and Cruisers, we will block off Topanga and do the official test of the Ford versus Durango.
Who's driving? That's all I want to know. All right. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4, public statements. Since there are no public hearings under agenda item 5 this evening, agenda items 4 and 6 are combined, and the council will hear all public statements under this agenda item 4. Agenda items 4 and 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called on in the order in which their card was submitted to speak for this public statements item 4 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mayor Kavanaugh, unless you have any comments, we can begin public statements. I will call 3 names at a time. Michael Shaw, Bill Oliver, and Michelle Liddell.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, fellow Joseph Ayala. Welcome. I'm the bad penny that keeps showing up all the time. Last month, excuse me, when I spoke last, I talked about how I thought about the importance of our bicycle master plan. And I wanted to ask about an ad hoc committee. And thank goodness Rocky was kind enough to say that, to address me and say, well, we've got it going. We got it together. And so now tonight I'm back to say, okay, what's going on? There's a great resource in the AARP. And my copper son-in-law told me that as far as the fatalities in Simi Valley go, they're pretty high. Pretty high. So it's something that we need to take seriously, real seriously. So one, you can get these books for free. I'll order them, each one of you, if you'd like to review them. 2, I'm going to do my part. I'm going the 25th of this month to a 3-day bike advocacy conference so I can learn how to convince people just like you to build a bicycle-friendly and pedestrian-friendly community. I know it's asking a lot, but I bet you if we put our minds together, we can come up with some safe streets. And then next month, I want to talk to you guys about my idea for I've got time now. Parks and Rec was all over my lots of city gardens. And they said, well, if you can, and then if you read the book about it, it gives you all kinds of reasons why we want them, but it doesn't tell you how to manage the darn things. And that's where the proof is or where the rubber meets the road is. If we could put our minds together, and I'm asking you guys to help, where we could come up with a mechanism that would be going on and on and on long after we're all gone, to come up with it, Parks and Rec is willing to give us the land to have some community gardens. And real quick, I'd like, 2 questions. One, what is going on with the bicycle master plan? Let's hear some transparency and inform us. And 2, if any of you could tell me something you've done in your time of office to increase public safety, I'd like to know about it. I don't know of those things. If anybody's got something, go ahead and I'll listen. Okay, thanks for listening.
So good evening. My name is Bill Oliver, and I'm here tonight to express my support for the Senior Center Nutrition Program. I am here in my position as a volunteer Meals on Wheels driver. I've been driving Meals on Wheels a little over 6 years, and I cannot express to you the importance of this program. We are the front line for some of the most vulnerable seniors in our community. A lot of times we are the only person that they see in a day, and we provide them with probably the only nutritional meal that they get that day. So it's extremely important. It's very distressful that some of the funding's been cut for that, and I know the city is working to address that. In my 6 years doing Meals on Wheels, I can't tell you how rewarding that it's been to be able to go in and see the smile on these people's faces when they come in. But we're also frontliners as well. I've had to report some situations that were very dangerous. There were seniors that were living in horrible conditions. The food insecurity here it's beyond what you can see because it's closed behind doors. You really don't see it. Fortunately, a couple of times I was able to help intervene with some of the seniors and get them some of the support that they needed because they were living in horrendous living conditions. So my main purpose of being here is just to let you know I support it, and I would like to do anything I can to help the city move that program forward. So thank you for giving me a moment to talk. I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I appreciate all the support that you have, especially Elaine Lister and Mike Judd. You come to our Council on Aging meetings all the time and give us support. So thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, City Manager, staff members. My name is Michelle Liddell, and I'm honored to be a local Simi Valley resident, business owner, and the chairman of the board for the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce, which I am proud to represent tonight. You'll also be hearing from some of my fellow board members who will be speaking about our Senior Services Alliance Committee, which is a valuable program that has been designed to address the needs of our growing part of that community. On behalf of the Chamber, I want to express our deep appreciation to the City of Simi Valley for your ongoing support of our business community and the community in general. Your partnership has been instrumental in fostering economic growth, and thanks to this collaboration, businesses here in Simi Valley are not just surviving, many are thriving. We are incredibly grateful for the dedication and leadership in this room, and we appreciate that you have continued to make this city a fantastic place to live, work, and do business. Now, I'd like to talk about some exciting chamber events, because what's a strong business community without a little networking and learning? So this Wednesday, March 12th at 8 o'clock in the morning at the Simi Institute, we're hosting a manufacturers roundtable. This is a new and exciting program that we recently launched. This initiative brings together local manufacturers to connect, discuss challenges, and build relationships. We have representatives from the school district joining us. So with this growing demand for skilled workers, particularly in manufacturing, this group will play a crucial role in bridging the gap between employers and educators, because we all know a strong workforce pipeline is key to a thriving economy. So we hope that some of you can join us for that. We have several other events coming up. Tomorrow we have a Lunch and Learn event at the Chamber on a hot topic, which is how to effectively use ChatGPT. Thursday, we're bringing the community together for our Hispanic Business Alliance Mixer. On Friday, we have our always popular Good Morning Simi Valley networking event. And on March 18th, we have a Power Hour lunch networking event. I know I spoke a little quickly, so for more details on any of these, you can visit the simivalleychamber.org website. Before I close, I just want to take a moment to personally thank so many of you in this room. We've seen your faces at our events. We've welcomed you in the chamber office, and we've appreciated your support, guidance, and feedback. Your ears are always open, your hearts are in it for the betterment of the city, and your actions speak volumes. Beyond that, I'm proud to say that many of you have personally supported my family business here in town. That's a true testament to the leaders in this room. You don't just talk about shopping local, but you actually do it. That kind of support is what makes Simi Valley such a special place. Thank you.
The next three speakers, Martin Erickson, John Lapper, and Al Brown.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, Mayor Pro Tem Judge, City Manager Argabright, members of the City Council. I'm Martin Erickson. I'm the Executive Director of the Ventura County Transportation Commission, VCTC, and it's an honor to be here tonight to share with you our 2025 Annual Community Impact Report. The Transportation Commission is an independent special district. My board is a 17-member board comprised of the 5 county supervisors and a mayor or council member from each of the 10 cities, as well as 2 public members. So I'm sharing this report, which you have in front of you, and I've left some in the lobby also, with all 10 cities, but I'm excited that I'm visiting Simi Valley first. I love all my cities. But I'm particularly proud of that because Mayor Pro Tem Judge is serving as VCTC's chair this year, and he has represented Simi Valley on VCTC for several years. And he also represents Ventura County as the chair of the Transportation Committee for the Southern California Association of Governments, or SCAG. I won't get into too many acronyms tonight, but in that capacity, he's also been extremely helpful in ensuring that Ventura County receives its share of, among other things, Regional Early Action Program funding, which has helped our transit and our walkability countywide for many programs. As you can imagine, this is kind of a tricky time for funding, transportation, transit, and otherwise. But I'm proud to say, as you'll notice in our report, VCTC is a very fiscally responsible agency. We have been awarded the Government Finance Officers Association Award for our capital, our ACFR for the last 14 years, and for the last 5 years for our budget. And we take that very seriously. We take being stewards of the public's money very seriously. We're probably best known for the big blue buses you see on the cover here that serve Simi Valley and the entire county. But we are also the Metrolink member agency, the LoSAN or Amtrak member agency representative, and we provide FSP or Freeway Service Patrol. I hope you never have to use these services, but these are the roaming tow trucks that serve 101, the 118. If you have a breakdown, they will tow you to a safe area. They will fix your tire for free, no charge. They'll even provide you with a gallon of gas if you run out of gas on the freeway. Besides providing funding for the county and all the cities for transportation and transit, we also help the cities with their road programs. And again, we serve all 10 cities, but it is an honor to be in Simi Valley tonight. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor Kavanaugh, City Council, and a special welcome to City Councilman Joseph Ayala. First, let me commend all involved in Mayor Fred Thomas's remembrance event. It was absolutely beautiful. Today, I may come across as contentious. However, I always believe in a 3-step process when presenting a point, issue, or question of a process. 1, the nice approach. 2, nicer while clarifying the issues further. And 3, I tend to turn up the heat and rally support in the community if there are no responses. Despite my tone, I believe I always remain civil. Far too many times I receive no responses from certain council persons to my public statements emailed to the council. With that being said, and Councilman Joseph Ayala emphasizing transparency, I am optimistic that Mr. Ayala will be responding to this resident's concerns about our community. To Mayor Pro Tem Mike Judge, at the interview process, you asked the question about privatizing city services, and as an example, Mike cited our legal services being outsourced and, in his opinion, a success and fiscal savings to the city. One person being interviewed asked Mike how much was it saving the city. Mike didn't know. As a 14-year city council member, I found that disappointing. Was Mike part of that decision? In conclusion, at this time, I'd like to quote Minnesota Viking player Chris Cluey as he spoke at the Huntington Beach City Council. Please listen to Chris's words, and if they don't ring true to you, just roll your eyes. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controller while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those servicing them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will not engage in a time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil obedience. Please take note, Simi Valley, as we must do better than being known for Trump truck rallies parading through our fine cities with huge Trump flags. We must do better. Thank you.
He knew I was coming and he ran. Members of the City Council, Madam Mayor, I know all except for our newest member. If I know you, you know me. I am here today as Al Brown, not any of the organizations I work with. Short story. Mid-70s, I came home from Vietnam, and like all the other veterans, I was spit upon and called names that I wouldn't use in a male group, let alone a mixed company group. Today, I have a sign on my car that says I'm a Vietnam veteran, and people stop me and say, thank you for your service. And that's very nice, except it doesn't make up for what happened when I came home. And anyone in the audience that was as old as, anyone as old as I am, I tell them the truth? I am here to tell you that my wife has dementia. I am her caregiver, and I'm caregiver for a lot of other veterans too. They're dying off left and right. It really, I could break out right now. The Meals on Wheels program is truly not just the only meal they get, it's the only contact with the outside world. They're disabled, they've got PTSD, they have anything and everything you can think of. I know money's tight. I work with, some of you know, I work with the county as well. The state doesn't have money. The federal government can print whatever they need, but we don't have that privilege. With the genius that you have, you are far and away the best city council. I'm not just saying it to butter you up. You are the best there is, definitely in the state, probably in the country. You're wonderful. And what I like about you is you're not politicians. You're here to represent the people. That program, we serve Meals on Wheels, we serve half, maybe even not even quite half the number of people who should be getting those meals. Don't have enough money to serve the rest of them. The waiting list is longer than the number of people we're serving. Cajole those that you work with. Find a way, I know the money is tight, find a way, try and get as much help as you can from the community to help take care of these people. We've got to take care of our youth because they're the future. But every one of you someday are going to be as old as I am, I hope. And you will understand, I'm privileged. I don't have the problems that these people have. It's not just food and the companionship, but as you heard Bill say, some of them are living in conditions, if it wasn't for the Meal on Wheel person to contact authorities to get them better conditions to live in, you would cry walking in the door. Do your best. Try and solve the problem. Let us keep at least the ones we're supporting now, and it would be nice if we could get more. Thank you very much.
The next three speakers, Alin Eason, Anthony Eason, and Leo Preddy.
Good evening. My name is Alin Eason, and I have been a Simi Valley resident and homeowner for 41 years. I am opposed to all short-term rentals in Simi. STRs should be banned in Simi as they are in our similar neighboring cities of Moorpark, Camarillo, and Ojai. When we moved here from Long Beach 41 years ago, we came to live in a safe neighborhood community with a good school district for our two sons. I would never have imagined there could be STRs popping up right next door. A neighbor who is an original owner, lived there 50 years, lives 2 houses from the STR, and said to me, I would die if I lived next door to that. Last October, a local realtor who lives in Moore Park bought the house next door and is renting it through Airbnb. She has been contracting with companies who place numerous workers there at a time. We never know from day to day who is there or how many people are there. It's so unsettling and makes us feel so unsafe. We have had 4 different sets of renters since January, including a group of at least 5 workmen with 5 utility trucks parked each night on the street. We also had a group of young businessmen coming and going all hours of the day, including a noisy motorcycle. The owner purchased the 4-bedroom, 2-bath house and apparently added a bedroom, and now advertises the property as a 5-bedroom, 2-bath house that can sleep up to 10 people a night. The owner has not spoke with us or any other neighbors regarding this STR. Simi is a neighborhood community. It's not a vacation tourist location. Non-local property owners do not care about how it affects Simi residents. STRs are just investments providing a way to make as much money as they can with no regard for the neighborhood. STRs are depleting the housing stock for those who want to become homeowners in Simi, spend their tax dollars here, and send their children to our schools. Visitors are not screened, and there's problems regarding parking, noise, trash, lighting, and safety. Short-term renters are not invested in the area or the property, and they show little, if any, regard for the neighbors. We need to ban all STRs. Don't let Simi have motels popping up in neighborhoods. It affects the quality of life of residents who are unlucky enough to have one next door or near them. Please ask yourself, how would you like an STR next door to you? Or maybe 2. It could happen unless you do the right thing. You need to ban all short-term rentals before it's too late and destroys our safe neighborhood community of Simi Valley. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Eason. I'm a resident of Simi Valley and have lived here at the same residence for 41 years. I would like to express my displeasure to Simi Valley's reluctance to ban STRs or short-term rentals in the city. Simi Valley is a place where people move for its quality of life and sense of community. What Simi Valley is not is a venue for tourism. I've heard the following arguments for STRs. 1, tax revenues for the city. By the city's own estimates, there are listings of between 30 to 50 homes for short-term rentals. Those possible revenues would be negated by the cost of enforcement by your own estimates. 2, supplemental income for homeowners. Many of these STRs are owned by non-residents of Simi Valley. Many are managed by property management companies that reside out of town. The income generated is not for residents of our city. 3, increase in visitors. The city would benefit more from people who would live in these homes long-term. Residents are as likely, if not more so, to spend their money in town supporting local businesses. 4, support local business. I find it hard to believe that anyone who has opened a business in Simi Valley opened it believing that they would be successful because of tourism and vacationing. They were opened primarily for use by residents of our community. My arguments against are as follows. 1, there currently is a short-term rental right next to me. What is preventing one from opening right next to me on the other side of my house? 2, the STR next to me was rented to a utility contractor who put their crews and parked a total of 5 vehicles in the neighborhood, including 2 large utility vehicles on the street. 3, when I moved to Simi Valley, I chose not to live next to a motel. I don't feel I should have to now. 4, a revolving door of short-term residents does not lend to a sense of neighborhood safety and security. Neighborhood residents should not have to feel on edge, on guard, or feel uncomfortable because they do not know who may be living next to them. With a long-term rental, there is more likelihood of the renter having feeling of neighborhood and community. In closing, I urge the City Council to ban STRs in Simi Valley as other surrounding communities have chosen to do. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Leonard Preddy. I live up the street from our neighbors on the other side of the street, but 2 houses up. And there's not really too much I could add to what was said. But I too came to Simi Valley 24 years, in this house 24 years ago. I've been living in Simi for over 30. And I too do not want to live next to a motel. You know, the city has motels and hotels that people could rent. It's not like we're out totally in the boonies and there's no place that they can't go and find, you know, food or shelter for whatever they're doing. The neighborhood we live in is just that. It's a neighborhood. It's an R1 neighborhood. It's designed for us to have homes. And I raised my kids there, and my kids are out of college, but they were small there and went to township and everything else. And one of the reasons why I moved to Simi and left the San Fernando Valley is for the peace and mind that my neighborhood gives me. The neighborhood is not designed to have RTRs in there. You know, I understand people want to make money and everything else, but we have other ways of housing people in motels and hotels, and that's why we have them. You know, it's an R1 neighborhood that's designed for us to have homes and our families there, and there's no way for us to know who's going to be hiring, who's going to be staying at that home the next time. You know, I too saw the trucks. They parked in front of my house, and there's really nothing I can do about it. But if you want to keep Simi safe and being a bedroom community and being the sparkle and the envy of the San Fernando Valley, we need to keep businesses in businesses areas and homes in home areas. I can't add much more to what my neighbors said, except I feel the same frustration they feel, and I'm very concerned because there's some people, in my neighbor to the right, to the left of me, is an older lady, and she's told me before, because I do a lot of work on her house and take care of things, that she plans on selling her house within a few years. And I definitely don't want an investor buying it and turning it into a hotel or an RTR. I think it's completely out of the plan of the community. And I think it's definitely out of our zoning. If there's a zoning on that, I think that would fall under a commercial. And I am concerned about it, our quality of life. Thank you for hearing me.
The next 3 speakers, Nikki Leon, Douglas Lipsky, and Richard Holloman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City Council. My name is Nikki Leanne of Body Brain Train, and this is Howard Pector of Clean Threads Laundry, and we're here representing the Senior Services Alliance for the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce. We formed about three or 4 years ago. Our biggest project has been stocking stuffers for seniors. This past Christmas or this past holiday, we stuffed over 350 stockings that were distributed through the Meals on Wheels program. Howard is a volunteer for the Meals on Wheels program. We've also done a July handout as well for the seniors, and we're here to just give our support for the Meals on Wheels and Senior Nutrition Program. I feel like our Senior Service Alliance has been built into this powerhouse alliance, and we are ready to take on anything that you need help with to build funding for the Senior Nutrition Program.
And we appreciate the council's kind of helping out last year with the budget and the shortfall in the budget when it came to the Senior Nutrition Program. I know Bill and Al have mentioned Meals on Wheels a few times. It's also the Senior Nutrition Program. I ate today with about 80 or 90 seniors at the cafeteria at the senior center. So the money that we're talking about in the budgets that we're discussing later tonight isn't just the Meals on Wheels, but the daily program where these seniors go and eat and talk amongst themselves, and listen to music. So it's very important. And like Nikki said, we're here to help, we're here to support, and we're here to brainstorm with you. But this is definitely a great program for a great city.
And we do have a lot of ideas, so please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. You guys know me, Douglas Lipsky. I've been coming here the last 3 weeks, last 3 meetings, talking about fire hazard and Caltrans. First of all, I thank you for taking care of Sinaloa Road. It got better, but they did not do a great job. Not happy about their work. But I brought you another set of jobs. Our bike path through Madera Road, Easy Street to Sequoia. I got pictures here. There's growth on it. It's been there for 2 years now. No one is taking care of it. I've been told that it's supposed to be through Ventura County. Again, why isn't nobody in Simi Valley telling anybody to do this? Why isn't they doing their job? Someone needs to start doing their job here. It shouldn't be the residents telling you guys what's going on. So I think someone needs to start doing something in this valley instead of the residents. So, but that's about I'm just I'll be coming here every meeting because we need stuff done in this valley. Because I drive all over Simi Valley, and growth, veggie, all these weeds, they're all over this valley. This valley is looking like trash. We need to start cleaning this place up. It's not looking good anymore. I've lived here for 60 years now. Let's start getting this place looking better. But the next thing is our Simi Valley Freeway. From Moore Park to basically the 405 freeway, it is not good. Caltrans has not done a darn thing. I don't know who in Simi Valley is going to start taking control. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. Caltrans knows me. They keep telling me, oh, we have it on a list somewhere. I don't go for that. I need action. Hopefully somebody in Simi Valley will start doing something. So that's my story, but you'll be seeing me every meeting. So I thank you, Council and the Mayor. Thank you. And here's pictures. Thank you.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'll try and make this short and sweet. My name is Richard Holloman, a 55-year resident of Simi Valley. I'm a local realtor, and I'm a certified real estate expert by the Ventura County Superior Court. If you ever have a real estate question, feel free to give me a call. I'll be happy to answer your questions. I'm good at it. Okay. I'm here to speak for not allowing short-term rentals in Simi Valley. I'm strongly against it. I live next door to the Poltergeist house. That's one of the things that they tried to get turned into a short-term rental and publicize it, everywhere and make it an event and make it a place. And that's not what belongs in our city, in our residents, in our neighborhoods. And I'm strongly against it, and I'm going to stand up here today to give you a little bit of information on why I feel that way. Having currently 50-plus short-term rentals in Simi Valley, if you take those and you turn them into long-term rentals, that will assist to stabilize or lower rents. I mean, you may think, hey, 50. 50 is a number. You put 50 properties on the market over a 6-month period, that's going to have an effect on the rental prices in Simi Valley. So if you want to make things more affordable when they keep going up and up and up, help out the renters in our community and take those and put them back into being rentals. Okay. Simi Valley really is a bedroom community, and we don't need to turn the quiet neighborhoods into businesses. People want peace in their neighborhoods, peace at their home. They want to be able to go to their house, relax, and they can't do that if they're going to have somebody's going to have a party next door. or if somebody who's, once again, parking a bunch of trucks next door, I feel for them just as much as I feel for my neighbors with the Poltergeist house. It basically is unfair to the homeowners to have to deal with the negative issues that come along with short-term rentals. The city should not allow businesses to be in residential neighborhoods, okay? Home prices around short-term rentals will be negatively affected. That's just a fact. You want to say, oh, no, well, no, that's a fact. And I'm telling you as a real estate expert, that is true. And why should somebody's hard-earned investment that they've taken and they've put into their home, the place they've grown, why should they be able to, why should somebody else be able to come into their neighborhood, make a business in their neighborhood? It's just the wrong thing to do. And as a city council, you're here to protect the residents of our city. I'm sure you will make the right decision, and I'm sure you will regulate short-term rentals and not allow them. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
The last two speakers, James Greenfield and Julius Sokono.
Good evening. I should have worn my MAGA hat. I guess as a Jew, that makes me a Nazi and a bigot. I don't think I am one. If I had thick skin, I might be offended. I just wonder how many that clapped would die to protect all of our First Amendment rights as I would. Have a few concerns. I was at the last meeting to speak on the rubbish police ordinance. At the second reading, I put a card in. I came at the beginning, and you were doing interviews, and I could see this was going on long. I went to the information booth. I said, is a normal meeting going to be at 6:30? And she said, well, I don't know, because it didn't say on there. She made a phone call and said it'll be at 6:30. I listened to the video, and you said, Mayor, that, well, we didn't put a time, so we'll just keep rolling, except you picked and choose certain items to have at 6:30 and some at not. And so basically the exercise to usurp the electorate just continued to steamroll the public's participation and ability to speak, which that's what the meeting's for. It's not about you, it's about the public, and obviously you are leading it. So, that concerns me. Councilman Rhodes, you mentioned you made a reference to the minutes. There's not minutes posted to a previous meeting since September 9th on online. So you might have access to meeting minutes, but the public doesn't. Since they're talking about the 118, I'd like to speak out again. We need more sound walls. They need to be continued through our valley, and it's time to make that a priority. And I'd just like to say that the agenda, it really requires mental gymnastics. Every time it comes out, you're smiling. It should be clear to a 12-year-old. And I'll give a shout out to the county. It's one thing they do very well. And I think that would be a really good model on how to do our city agendas and to just make it clear and very easy. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Councilmember Rhodes?
I was trying not to go first.
I can change it.
So I'll go down the list. Mr. Shaw, the Bicycle Master Plan, I think it will be something that you are very proud of, that it's well thought out, and it's coming. I don't know if we have an update on presentation day, but.
Want me to respond?
Sure.
Staff is working on that. I'm anticipating that the Bicycle Master Plan will come back this summer. There was public outreach done. There was no citizen committee for a bicycle master plan. However, there was a professional group committee that was done for input. The opportunity for citizen input was done through multiple public meetings.
So I don't think I'm going to ask for an ad hoc committee because this is already a work in progress, and if we don't get satisfactory answers from what they come up with, then maybe we take it to the next level. But it's something that we're taking seriously. To all that came to speak on behalf of the nutrition program, of which there were many, bless you. This is a service that is one of those things the city must, I think a city must take care of the most vulnerable among us. And creativity is what it's going to take in order to figure out how to make this all work. And so I look forward to our discussion later in the agenda, but I absolutely appreciate all of you who look out for our seniors, are taking good care of them. It's what we as a community should do. So thank you for being here. For those who spoke about short-term rentals, masterclass in actually how to create an argument, a compelling argument, and to lay out facts and figures, and without jumping up and down and being emotional, I can see you are dealing with an issue that's hugely important in impacting lives. So know that that is heard, and I'm absolutely going to I took copious notes on the concerns because it was really well played. And it will be something that we as a community have to grapple with, not only what our laws and ordinances are or what's forced upon us by state laws as well on housing and jurisdictions. So it's a big puzzle, and there's lots of pieces, and you have compelled the resident next door piece extremely well. So thank you for coming out. Mr. Greenfield, to the extent that we usurped the ability for the public to participate, where did you go? There you go. Apologies made. It was supposed to be a continuing agenda, and if you got, if we got you sidetracked to not be able to come and speak about the fee topic, apologize. I'm glad you brought it up here again today, and if you want to make further clarification, please send us in a letter to all the council members with the detailed concerns, and we will absolutely read it. I'm sure most of us will respond to you. That was certainly not an intention to usurp any type of ability for you to be heard. Oh, and let me see. Mr. Lipsky.
Yeah.
The one thing that I will say is that you made a comment that it isn't the citizens' responsibility. I disagree. We are in this together, and to the extent that you come and present,
I agree.
it's my turn. To the extent that you come and help us see things that are wrong with the city, that's great. And as you may have experienced, they often get taken care of right away. Bringing it forward in a helpful manner and a gentle manner is, I think, always preferable, but you do you. And yes, we are all in this together, and often we don't know until someone from the community tells us, and so that's how we're going to react to things. So everyone else, please feel free, if you have issues, like with short-term rentals, bring them forward so that we can consider them and deal with it. And that's the end of my comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Litster.
Thank you. I'm just going to, I would love to comment on everything, but I think we've got 3 minutes, so just wanted to make a few comments. Mr. Shaw, thank you for your suggestion for city gardens plots, and I'm glad it was receptive with the Parks and Rec. Would be a great addition. Of course, there's a wonderful big community garden spot behind the Adventist Church right now that's lovely, but I'm sure that there can be more, and so let's keep talking about that. I think that's great. Wanted to thank also all of you who came out to speak about the senior nutrition program. Bill, thank you for your driving for 6 years plus. Thank you currently for being the chair of the Council on Aging, doing a wonderful job there. I don't even see where you are, Bill, but I know that all of us are very concerned, and it will be a good, robust discussion that's going to happen this evening. I'd like to, Martin, thank you for coming on behalf of VCTC and telling us about and providing us with this, with your impact report, and looking forward to reading it, and appreciate your work there. Mr. Al Brown, one of our volunteers of the year, kind of wherever he is, wonderful man. I just wanted to say to him specifically, thank you for your tremendous service and representing the senior concerns, and I had no idea that you were also struggling with caring for your wife and others, and just wanted to say thank you for, even with all of that heavy load, being as involved as you are. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Nikki and Howard, thank you for, you're doing double duty. You guys were at the Council on Aging today, talking about how you could make a difference there, and appreciate the activity you are doing on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce with the Senior Services Alliance. And I know that Jim and others were talking about, Bill and others were talking about how excited they were to work with you. So thank you both for what you're doing there. Mr. Douglas Lipsky, bike path concerns on Easy Street in Madera. You had mentioned you're not sure who's taking care of that. I just biked it a few days ago, didn't notice what you're talking about, but that being said, you provided some photos, and I'm sure that our city manager will get it to the right people to get it taken care of. So I just want you to be aware of.
All the way down. It's all the way down through Sequoia.
I hear you. I biked it, but but I know that our city manager will take a look at that, and I appreciate that. The last thing, like I said, I wish I could comment on everybody. Mr. Greenfield, needing more sound walls. As I recall, when you came before, you talked about Challenger Park, Dinosaur Park. Was that you that talked about it wasn't you? Okay. We'll talk more. Someone spoke about the concern about that particular park not being sound walls protecting and people playing anyway. There are definitely some places that we do need more sound walls and more involvement with our Caltrans, and so we will keep talking, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. So anyway, thank you all that participated and spoke today.
Thank you. Thank you all that came here talking about the short-term rentals. Staff's working on the report on that, and we will probably be having that this spring. So we look forward to seeing what the staff report says. We'll have much more discussion on that. Your concerns were very well warranted and heard. Let's see. Thank you all for coming to support our Meals on Wheels and such. That's always a fantastic thing. And Mr. Shaw, we're going to get that bike plan to something you like one of these days or not. I know. We're just going to keep fighting it. That's good. Michelle, thank you for coming and representing the chamber. And you have a wonderful family business, so thank you. I've utilized your services. Martin, again, thanks for representing VCTC. And let's see, Mr. Lipsky, we're working on the cleanup. There's some new information came down from the state in regards to fire. Our fire department is going to be working on that, and along with the city, and we will be getting more information at that at a later date. So thank you very much. And Mr. Greenfield, I smiled because I agree with you. The agenda is it is hard to follow. That's why I smiled. And I do apologize. We did skip all over last meeting. And the main reason was we were estimating time as to the items on the agenda. We completed our interviews quicker than anticipated. And so as we went to go on to the next item, the people weren't here yet that were receiving their certificates. So that's kind of why we moved things around. It was very confusing. It will not happen again on my watch, I promise you that. But thank you for bringing that up. It was a concern. Everyone else, thank you for being here. We appreciate all the community participation. That is the one thing about Simi Valley, or one of the things I love, is that we all participate and we're all willing to bring our thoughts and our concerns up, and let's all work on them together. So thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there's one resolution for your consideration this evening. Consent item 11, resolution number 2025-04, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley approving the subdivision improvement agreement and securities for LD-S 2021, located at 2196 Tapple Street.
Councilmember Litzter.
I just have some quick questions on number 8 and number 11, if that's all right. And I should have called Mr. Fujiwaki earlier today to have them answered, but if he doesn't mind, I'll ask him now. Sorry.
Okay, we're pulling items 8 and 11.
I'll move the other consent items, not 8 and 11.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Or, excuse me, call the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Councilmember Litzter, item 8.
Thank you for humoring me with this, with my question. 8 is dealing with basically amending our relationship for the dial-a-ride services that are being provided for us. I noticed that one-way fares for dial-a-ride are going from $6 to $8. And I just wondered if we had any say in that fare increase. It appeared to me as I read the report, this is just what it is. Is that accurate? And
Right, that was voted on by the East County Transit Alliance, which was comprised of City of Thousand Oaks, Moorpark, Simi, and Camarillo. And it was based upon the, as you may have read, the increase of the operating costs for the services that they contract out, meaning Thousand Oaks. And so the fares are raised, I think, also 3 years ago as well. And just so you're aware, it's for these services just for the East County, not for our local service, dial-a-ride services.
that was my misunderstanding. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That
so
was-
the fares out here still remain the same.
Gotcha, thank you. That, I feel better
Right.
about that. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my misunderstanding.
That's $2.
Gotcha, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That was, thank you. And number 11.
Mr. Fujiwaki?
Actually, this is again, just to educate me, because I was trying to understand how, basically how, if I'm reading it correctly, this is to finalize the public improvements that are being contracted for the Tapple Street Cochrane development that's taking place.
Correct.
Are these funds, and what I wasn't clear to me, are these funds held in escrow? Is this, I mean, what, is that what they pay us? Is that, I mean, how does that work, I guess?
They're in the form of bonds. So they come to us in an agreement form. We take those bonds, write them into the agreement, and they last for 36 months. They have 36 months to complete the project and the improvements for acceptance. And if they complete them adequately, then we'll release the bonds upon request.
Okay, thank you. And in the report, it stated that basically 3 years ago is when we approved the project. What you're discussing is 3 years from when it's actually completed, regardless of when it started. Is that correct?
It's 36 months from the enaction of the agreement. So as soon as the agreement's signed and recorded at the county, then the clock starts ticking.
Okay, so does this, by passing this, does this then kind of hold their feet to the fire to start working on it? Is that?
It holds the developer's feet to the fire to start working on it.
That's what I was trying to understand. Okay.
Yes, they have 36 months. They can ask for an extension, but typically,
Sure.
timing of the project depends on their progress of completing the work. But this is all for just public works improvements in the right of way.
Right, okay, thank you. I just wanted to understand it better.
Certainly.
Mr. Lynn. I'm happy to move acceptance of 8 and 11, if that's.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 9A, Senior Nutrition Program Update and Request for Direction on Solutions to Address Future Program Deficits. And Deputy Community Services Director Anna Medina and Community Services Manager Kim Post are here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. Kimberly Post from Community Services Manager at the Senior Center will provide the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. The Senior Nutrition Program serves seniors aged 60 and older, providing meals through two main services: Meals on Wheels for homebound seniors and congregate meals served at the Senior Center. This program is funded through the Older Americans Act, which allocates the funds to the California Department of Aging and subsequently to the Ventura County Human Services Agency, VCHSA. VCHSA fully funded the city's program through fiscal year 23-24. In April of 2024, the city was informed that the Senior Nutrition Program funding allocation for fiscal year 24-25 would be $261,750 for program operating non-food costs and $261,750 for food costs, for a total grant amount of $523,500. While the grant amount of $261,750 continued to cover operating costs, the food allocation amount was required a service level decrease of 60% from 71,824 meals served in fiscal year 23-24 to 29,083. To mitigate the impact of the funding reductions, staff reduced the cost per meal by purchasing more cost-effective meals from county-approved food vendors and by preparing up to 3 meals a week from scratch. We discontinued the grab-and-go meal option and eliminated extra weekend and holiday meals. Also, the city did not remove any participants from the Meals on Wheels program. However, as participants left the program, they were not replaced. These efforts reduced the projected shortfall from $384,666 to $267,000, a 30% savings. Staff also contacted the 92 individuals on the Meals on Wheels waitlist to assess eligibility. These calls found that 51 seniors were either no longer interested, ineligible, had found alternative options, were unreachable, or had moved or passed away. 10 seniors who were on the waitlist are now receiving meals, and 16 new applications were submitted. Therefore, as of January 31st, 2025, there were still 47 seniors that remain on the waitlist. On September 23rd, 2024, the City Council approved $260,000 to subsidize the Senior Nutrition Program, and therefore increasing the ability to serve a total of 58,750 meals in fiscal year 24-25. Also, in January 2025, the VCHSA allocated $55,000 of one-time funding to assist with food costs, reducing the shortfall for this fiscal year. VCHSA was not expected to provide the Senior Nutrition Grant allocation for fiscal year 25-26 until the end of March. However, staff recently received an email from VCHSA stating that the allocation will be $524,000, a $500 increase from fiscal year 24-25. Meal sites across the county have also felt the impact of funding challenges and have implemented various solutions to subsidize their programs. Some meal sites received city funding or absorbed the cost in the general fund. Others reduced the program significantly or implemented cost-saving measures. Others reduced the program significantly. The City of Oxnard supplemented the program with Measure O funds, a sales tax funding for vital services, and the City of Santa Paula implemented a sales tax increase in November of 2024 to restore services. Senior Concerns receives grants and donations to maintain their program. Staff developed several options and funding alternatives for City Council to ensure the continued success and sustainability of the Senior Nutrition Program. Option 1 fully funds the meal program by providing 282 meals per day and includes the 47 individuals on the Meals on Wheels waitlist. This option would require an additional $372,750 in funding. Option 2 represents the current meal program that provides 235 meals per day and does not include the individuals on the wait list. This option would require $267,000 in additional funding. Option 3 utilizes the existing grant funding to provide 116 meals per day. However, approximately 50% of the participants who depend on these meals would be removed from the program. Options 4 and 5 would reduce meal service from 5 days a week to 4 and requires additional funding support in the amount of $245,850 for option 4 and $161,250 for option 5. A reduction in service could affect many of the participants who rely on these meals for their nutritional needs, creating a situation where participants could be without a meal for several days. It could also create a financial hardship, as many participants are on fixed incomes. Depending on the options selected, funding alternatives could include an annual general fund budget allocation, partnering with local nonprofits, such as the Senior Alliance, who've expressed support of the program this evening, on a yearly fundraising campaign with the general fund absorbing the shortfall. Or lastly, committing to an annual fundraising goal and relocating community development block grant funding with the general fund absorbing the difference. On February 28, 2025, City met with representatives from the Council on Aging to discuss the potential funding shortfalls in the senior nutrition program. The Council on Aging agreed to partner with the city on a yearly fundraising campaign and to request board approval to provide $30,000 annually in funding to assist with the budget shortfall. Staff requests that City Council consider the potential options and funding alternatives presented this evening and provide staff with further direction and preparation for the city's fiscal year 25-26 budget preparation discussions. This concludes the report, and staff is available to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Litster?
Question, first of all. My recollection is that there is a maximum amount of meals that could actually be prepared and delivered, and I thought it was like at 170, 172, 175, somewhere in that number. Is my memory incorrect?
The maximum we can serve is 282, is the capacity of the kitchen. So 182 congregate, or 100 congregate, 182.
Okay, so you're saying and you're sure that 280, and how do we derive that 282 figure? I mean, that's the total for what we have on the waiting list right now.
That would be the capacity that we could cook in the kitchen.
Okay, and so you're sure that we could provide 182, we have the drivers, the cooks, et cetera, that we could service 182?
Yes.
Okay, that's my first question for now. I'll let someone else ask questions, and then I've got other thoughts.
All right, Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. For the block grant, is that already earmarked for other programs, or is that, so would we, if we did that one, the 97.5, is that being taken away from other programs?
The funding has already been allocated for this fiscal year and possibly next fiscal year. And it is all, the city receives the $650,000 in funding, with the 15% max allocation can be used under the public services activities, which is part of, we already have a couple of Senior Concerns has some of that right now, and I believe the, what is it?
Samaritan Center.
Senior Concerns has it, and then the Samaritan Center has that currently.
And would we still be applying for the VCHSA grant? And if so, if we do get that grant money, can the money we earmarked from the general fund or from CDBG for the meal program be reallocated back to the other programs or back into the general fund?
So what I would say would be that if we are able to apply for additional grant funding, that would go to decrease the amount of money that we would need to supplement either from fundraising or from the general fund. The city council would have to allocate CDBG funds at the next available opportunity based on the other considerations at that time. So ultimately, it would be really what kind of that leftover gap is.
And then the final question is, have we done a fundraising program like this, and has it been successful before, or would this be the first time we're even doing such an effort?
I would say this is probably the first time that the Council on Aging has, 4 or 5 big fundraising events that they've done every year, but we would definitely need to do more to really start, a fundraising kind of, campaign or whatnot.
Okay, thank you.
This fundraising effort would truly be a partnership between the city and the COA. Currently, the COA does fundraising for their programs. This would be dedicated fundraising specifically for the senior nutrition program.
I do have more questions, but one, I don't want, if others, I don't know. No, okay. If I could go back to questions then, if you don't mind, Mayor. Okay. Are we still required to purchase all of our food from county identified sources?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
They have a contract for the next 4 years. The county does, that we're part of the contract,
And basically, to receive that, the grant money that you said that and I was pleased to hear, because first I'll be honest, originally I was going to say, why are we having this discussion now? We should do it in 2 weeks after we find out how much they're giving us. But what I just heard you say is that we are going to receive $524,000, if that's correct.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is in order to access those funds, we have to use their food providers or who they've contracted with.
Yes, we do.
Okay. But you're being creative with that, as I understand.
Very.
Okay. Okay. And actually, I just want to say right now, thank you to the Council on Aging for willing to fundraise and commit to this. It's huge. And also, just a bit of information, it's my understanding that through the years, the Council on Aging has actually had a budget line of about $30,000-$40,000. They've never utilized it to help with the food program. So they have said from very early on that this is important to them. And so anyway, I just want to get that on the record that I very much appreciate their willingness. So my question then is, let me first ask about the 5 versus 4 days. Right now, we're delivering 5 days. Do we deliver on holidays right now? I mean,
I don't believe so.
So I'm just, you would know. That's what I wonder. An extra meal is okay. So we are delivering 5 meals, even if there's
Right,
if it's
so
the
they
4th of
freeze
July
a bunch and then.
or Memorial Day or something. You'll give them 2 meals to tide them over. Gotcha. Okay, that's what I want. Very good. So I'm kind of surprised that we haven't talked about using CBDG funds in the past in this regard, but I think it's actually a very good use, purpose for those funds.
Agreed.
I'm just thinking about where we've used the funds in the past, and this just seems like the perfect fit. But what I'm understanding is we can't use it this upcoming year. We could use it. We can't use it because they're already allocated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because it's a 2-year commitment, as I remember often
Believe so, yes. So the next opportunity that we can, we'll bring it forward to the city council, just as you allocate funds now. And that would be an item that the city council could consider as a use of those funds. So I don't want to say in competition with, but as another alternative to other agencies that apply for those funds.
Sure. Well, and my question, I in terms of asking about kitchen capacity and delivery capacity, is just that I think that should possibly be what we base our decision on. If capacity is, let's say, 175, we make that our target, and then obviously there will always be a wait list, but unfortunately, people go on and off that food list, and so maybe, I know you've given us the option of everybody on the list or no one on the list, but in my mind, there's also a nice 175 or whatever is the capacity or works well with the routes and the kitchen, et cetera. But what I'm hearing you say is that's not there, that you believe that 182 is the best number, is the full.
282.
I'm sorry, I'm not talking about, I'm sorry. In my mind, we have to do the
yeah.
congregate meal for 100. I'm sorry. That's a foregone conclusion. No, I'm kidding. So yes, I'm sorry. And so in my mind, yes, I understand the congregate meal is 100. It's the Meals on Wheels that requires drivers and routes and boxing, et cetera. And that's the capacity that I
Yes.
am most concerned with. And you're saying 182 is the ideal, 175, 160? What would be the best target, or what is the full, well, given the way the routes are assigned and given your drivers, what is the maximum or the best level utilizing what we've got in place?
I would say even if we went to 282, there's kind of a 10% rule where there's on any given day, there's about 10% of, participants that aren't, they're calling out, they have a doctor's appointment, there's, whatever that is, there's about, we see kind of a 10%. So I think even if we were at 282 with capacity and given that 10% rule, I think, it's definitely manageable and have a wait list that we could start over that hopefully wouldn't get up to, 45, up to 92 people. But, these days it's really hard to tell what that list would look like.
Got it.
So then that capacity for Meals on Wheels would be about 180, right? Because 100 for congregate, and then 180-ish for Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I would like to see us find a permanent solution for this going forward. Whether we do a line item, budget item. To be honest, we've had excess money the last few years. This is a small portion of that. I know we've already decided how we're going to align those excess budget, the excess funds at the end of the budget year. But maybe we can utilize something along those lines to fit in here, or we say we're going to utilize the CDBG grant, in the future and do a subsidy here. I don't want to leave it up in the air every year until we at least get some standard every funding that we can count on.
I just want to add that the amount of surplus that we've had each year, I do anticipate decreasing over the next couple of fiscal years. I'm not anticipating that the city's revenues are going to continue to pace at that same level. So while I am still anticipating a surplus for this past fiscal year, I don't anticipate the same levels going forward.
So in other words, don't count on that past that year. Okay, that's good to know. I do like the fact that we have people offering to help with the fundraising, and we do have the COA. So I think we do have some options, and I think Councilmember Rhodes wants to make some comments too.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a question, and I do have, I think, an idea for later. But if we fundraise, or the money that we as the city put forward, are we still obligated to get our meals and food from the county program, or is there a less expensive alternative that we could use those funds for since they're not contractually obligated?
I think we looked into, so all the food that we are getting in the dietary guidelines are basically the grant, mandated. So we did, I think at the last council meeting, it was brought up to bring in kind of a parallel program with some of the additional funds, but it's going to be difficult to run the program through the Meals on Wheels, which has the very strict dietary guidelines and the county rules, versus an additional. I think Senior Concerns runs a program where they have Meals on Wheels where they get the grant funds, and then they're running an additional meal program through fundraising, and they said it's very confusing to try to, when somebody calls in, someone's on the Meals on Wheels program through the county grant, and then there's others that are kind of funded through the fundraising efforts, and they just said, we spoke with them, that it's very confusing to try to run two concurrent programs at the same time. With when people call in, it's hard, well, which program are you on? And then also, we can't mix the staffing, so the Meals on Wheels, the staff for the senior nutrition program can't be involved with that other parallel program. So it's just going to be difficult to kind of run
So
that way.
I hear on difficult and confusing, and often difficult and confusing can be overcome with procedures and policies. But I'm just trying to do some account juggling.
Yeah.
So if you take all of the money from the county and dedicate it all to Meals on Wheels, and we fundraise for our congregate food and take care of building the congregate meals ourselves, is that a way of getting up to capacity on one and then fundraising for the other?
We'd at least need another staff person or part of a staff person to do anything with the congregate that was not funded through the county program.
Does it have to be paid staff, or could it be volunteer staff from Council on Aging?
I'd have to look at the job description that we use for the Meals on Wheels program, because if it is a general unit staff, it would, if we had a volunteer doing it, that would potentially supplant that general unit staff, and that could create union issues.
But the creative minds, I'm spitballing ideas to try
Fair
and
enough.
lower the cost and
Fair enough.
increase the level of service. And hearing confusion is one that I go, okay, cool, figure out how to overcome confusion. Trying to get past the loopholes of the county is another issue. Anyway, those are the questions I had, but I also have a possible idea on fundraising, but we'll let the conversation continue.
I think we both have questions or comments, so whoever you want to go.
Councilmember Litster.
My quick question, I know that the congregant meal participants are solicited a donation. They pay for that lunch often. I mean, they don't have to, it's voluntary, but they are encouraged, if they have the means, to pay for that lunch. Where does that money go, and how does that factor into this?
I think that goes back into the grant under contributions that we have to report.
And how much is that? How much do we receive? I mean, I know I didn't see that in the report. I just want to know what we're taking in at the door. Because I like your creative idea, Councilmember Rhodes. I just want to say that I like that.
Yeah, that I don't have that, but I can get that.
I just wonder if it's significant
It's
enough
not
that it could,
it's definitely not significant enough to.
I understand, but tell us what the encouraged donation amount is. It $5 now, $8?
It's $4, so it's $4. Yeah.
$4.
Yeah.
So theoretically, let's say 75 people provided the recommended donation. We're looking at $300 a day.
Well, and then I mean, really, the reality is, to us, it's $9 a meal too. So it's still. We're still.
I understand it doesn't cover
yeah.
the full meal
Yeah.
cost. I realize that, but I'm just wondering how much it offsets. I'm just, absolutely.
We can get that number for you, but my understanding is, and Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, but the contributions portion that that would include has already been taken into consideration in these numbers, correct?
Yeah, and that gets, goes back into the grant stuff. We have to report it.
Thank you. Councilmember Ayala?
In regards to the option of moving away from the county, have we done the homework to know that there's other options that are less expensive than the county? Or is the county pretty much providing it at the lowest level, that even if we looked at other options, it's still higher than what the county would provide?
I'm going to take a shot at answering that. The cost per meal from the county is, in my opinion, off the charts. But the money comes from the county to offset those meals. To say, we're going to scrap it and do our own, the loss of the $500,000 coming in is not something that we could achieve in savings by going meals on our own. Yes, we did sort of explore that line of thinking, going, screw them. But so we're appreciative of the $500,000 worth of stuff that comes, but we are handcuffed to those meal prices.
Okay, thank you.
And staff has been able to decrease some of those costs on meals, but unfortunately, it's still fairly substantial, I guess I would say.
I agree in that I like your plan, using the existing money for the Meals on Wheels and possibly fundraising for the congregate luncheon. And you said you have ideas on, and we also have service clubs and faith-based community.
So, yeah, and on the funding part,
Mhm.
so I think all of us up here agree that we do not do long-term funding with one-time money.
Right.
And so while I appreciate your, hey, the allocation of the leftover funds, but we don't know that there will always be leftover funds.
Right. City manager said that.
Yeah, so here's what I would think is that we could probably come up with some level of funding from the city, and I would propose that we have a challenge with the Council on Aging or the other senior programs to say it's a matching program up to a certain dollar amount. So if we know that we can allocate $150,000 a year, that if you raise $150,000 a year, we'll match every dollar for dollar. All of a sudden, we're up to $300,000, which is just over our proposed service level need. And then maybe even some of that money can roll forward. But that finding a smaller dollar amount in the budget and then having our community participate, my guts tell me the community's ready for this. They're ready to step up and do this. I know my Rotary Club would be a participant in trying to raise funds. But that would be my thing, is to try and lower our year-over-year absolute obligation, if we're going to do it, and get that buy-in from the community. It's one thing to say, yeah, we'll fundraise. It's another thing to say, okay, we better get it done and make it a partnership.
Councilmember Litster?
I like some of the thoughts that you're saying. I'm a little concerned about the matching fund. I don't want to, I'm not sure, well, I don't want our wonderful service organizations to feel that obligation, or Council on Aging. I'm looking at this funding alternatives. Let's say theoretically, and I love your idea about saying, okay, we're going to use the county to pay for our Meals on Wheels. That becomes that program. And so I'd love to know the figures, how that pans out. What is left if we decide, okay, the congregate meal now it becomes our responsibility? If, let's say theoretically, it takes care of it all and we just have the congregate meal, if the Council on Aging is willing to commit to $100,000, which is that's a substantial amount, I think that, and then if we can do CDBG funds going forward at close to $100,000, which I think is a very good use for those funds based on what we've used in the past, then I would recommend that this coming year, we make up the difference, whatever that amount is, if it's at 175, if it's 125, whatever it is, and going forward, we just know that if we could do CDBG and Council on Aging, and that's asking a lot of them, I will be honest, to commit that much, but that we should be willing to make up the difference. And if the Council on Aging wants to turn to the Rotary clubs and the other to come up with their funds, then great. I leave them that opportunity, but not say that the city is going to utilize that.
City Manager Argabright?
So one of the things that I just want to mention is the funding that we receive from the county is for the entire senior nutrition program, including both the congregate and the Meals on Wheels. So for this year, as staff mentioned, we received the email that we should be receiving approximately $524,000. So at this point, I don't believe that we would have the latitude to be able to split that out, and staff can correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe that we would be on the hook to provide both programs this year.
But that gives us a year to explore your great idea to see if we could split that out. And maybe this one year we use our reserve fund, knowing that this 1 year is an exception. And that we look at.
And if we are looking forward, I'm sorry to just
Go
jump
ahead.
in. If we are looking forward, that also gives Council on Aging a year to ramp up and start fundraising a year in advance to see what they can actually accomplish and come up with, and start offsetting future costs from the city. I'm a little nervous about CDBG money moving forward, since there's great programs that are already using that fund, but
What my impression is that CDBG funds we don't have a lot of applications for it because the requirements are so extensive to use those funds. Maybe someone can speak to that. But so often, because the reporting are so huge, most groups, for instance, prefer to go to our grant program because the CDBG funds are so hard to access. And so
can be onerous,
if
yeah.
we can use them for this and then have to do the reporting internally, bravo. That's my impression.
You're absolutely right. The CDBG funds is so restrictive and so labor intensive in terms of annual reporting that a lot of nonprofit organizations can't necessarily report or handle or take on that workload. So being able to find programs that fit a lot of those boxes, and obviously the city already does annual reports for the CDBG, it makes it a little bit easier to manage. But again, just part of the greater conversation on how you want to handle it. And then just some clarification on the Meals on Wheels in terms of the congregate meals and the revenues. The city brings in approximately anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 a year in some of those revenues, some of the donations. However, it's not like the city gets to keep that money and use it. The way that works is the county deducts that amount from the amount that they give to us. So it helps out the county a lot.
So, okay, so what I'm now hearing you say is that if it just reduces our grant money, basically, then.
For specifically for the Meals on Wheels. So they do a concerted effort.
So why do we even charge?
This for the
I know,
donation.
I understand. We ask for a donation, but there's a feeling of obligation if you can.
As you can see, it's in the staff, so it's a very difficult situation to kind of navigate through.
Does the county require us to ask for that offset?
I don't think there's a requirement.
Well, they want it to be very confidential. Part of the requirement is to have a box set aside, kind of off the beaten path, so that people, so they do it's very discreet, and they don't really. That's why they don't make it very obvious. Like they put it aside. It's for anybody that really wants to. They don't have to.
But the
They're
county
not
doesn't
obligated.
require that we do that. They do require we do that?
Yeah, they do.
They require that we have a donation box.
But they don't want it to be so publicly out there and make people feel that they're obligated to do that.
Right, thank you. Councilmember Ayala?
We're talking about the fundraising from the COA. In the documentation that we have, it talks about the city and the COA committing to the fundraising, not just the COA. So I'm wondering, what is the obligation of the city for the fundraising if we were to do that?
So we had a conversation with the COA last week. Time flies. Regarding helping them kind of get the word out, helping them come up with some fundraising ideas, because this would be a much larger fundraising effort than they have undertaken in the past. So really kind of helping guide them to come up with ideas and community outreach that would actually help them attain this goal. So much of what you said, Councilmember Rhodes, about talking to the service clubs, potentially doing a larger effort fundraising, such as maybe some type of gala or adopt a senior or something along those lines, instead of the standard collection for the Meals on Wheels program. So partnering with them, brainstorming with them, and then helping them market and get that information out there.
And the important thing to note is that those funds would be for the city to utilize as it wishes, not requiring the county involved.
Another concern, thank you, City Attorney, is that if we split this into two different entities, we're not going to get the $525,000. So what percentage are we going to lose by not having those meals as part of there? So in other words, are we going to get enough to pay for the Meals on Wheels from the county if we do that's a calculation we're going to have to figure out.
You would definitely need to do the analysis. to
Exactly,
figure that out,
right.
And it does create kind of a murky area because, again, the kitchen, the staffing, It would be difficult to make sure that there's a clear delineation because the county could come in and say, you're using our funds to help pay for some of your staff who's also preparing meals or
Exactly.
kitchen
And when it
skills.
comes down to even the utensils, or
It could get that detailed, correct. So I'm kind of hearing that we want to ask staff to do a little bit more calculation if we were to divide this into two entities. Is that kind of what the general concern? And what about funding now? Do we have to make a decision on funding right now, City Manager?
We're in the middle of budget preparation, so if there is a dollar amount that the city council is comfortable with, then that would be helpful for our budgeting purposes. But I think that we can also kind of take what we've been doing and we can put a placeholder in the budget for what we had to allocate last year. Or we can, knowing that we'll have a surplus coming up that we'll be bringing back to the council, we can kind of pre-allocate that from the surplus funds instead of putting it into the general fund budget. So we can have some options. I think really what staff wanted to do is bring this back to you to let you know kind of where we were with this. And if there was a clear direction that the council wanted to give, that we were available to take that as we're doing our budgeting process. But if the city council's not ready to do that today, we can definitely work around that.
We're clear as mud right now. Mayor Pro Tem Judge.
Thank you. I've been looking at this for a week now, since last Wednesday, not quite a week. I believe that option 2 is our best bet going forward. When I say option 2, right now we're serving, wouldn't cut any of the meals we're currently serving. We have 135 people on Meals on Wheels and whatever the 100 is for the congregate. And it says no wait list inclusion. I would like to change that, though, to where we're at 135. If we go below 135, we could add people from the wait list to bring it up to 135. But 135 is pretty, to me, it's a reasonable number, and the city manager says we can afford that. And that's what I look at when I do things like this, is I want to see what the city can afford, not what it wishes for, or not what it's hoping for from grants. Who knows? I have a rosy outlook on the next 4 years. Things might change. I don't know. They could. I don't think the federal funding is going to go away. I think it'll come back sooner or later, because this is an important thing, and I don't know why it was cut in the first place, mostly probably because of mismanagement. So I look at this as keeping number 2 going strong the way it is, and then using the funds that we can put in from the city and funds fundraised by the COA, and go from there. Again, just to keep this program current and running as it is. That's all. That's only my comment.
For the next year or just in general? Okay. That's
We
right.
can always review it every year and see where we're at with it, and see if we need to add more money or hopefully get more grants. And like I said, I don't think the United States federal government's going to run out of money anytime soon. So we should be able to get our grants back up through the federal. But again, all that money that we get comes from the county. The county is the one supposed to be going out and getting the money from the feds. So if we can find a way to probably work with our representatives and get that money from the feds here directly, that'd be something. I mean, I can't imagine any politician, even some of the ones I really don't like, saying, oh, no, we're not going to feed seniors. So
I will tell you, we've had conversations with our federal representation and our other levels of representation. And unfortunately, due to the budget expectations and projections, we're not anticipating that we're going to see additional funding. So, but that is an ongoing conversation that we're having.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to see anything this year, that's for sure. But I just want to keep, people's confidence up and keep this meal program going, and I think number 2 is the best way to keep that going.
If I may, as a directional thing, I'm in agreement that we should find the 267 for this year moving forward. And since we can't take it from CDBG because that's already obligated, the possibility of taking some of that surplus money and diverting it from somewhere else, that's a thing. But I would really like us to, since we're buying a year, to have us start to figure out that plan, and not when it comes time for, February of next year, March of next year, when it's budgeting time to try and figure it out. Let's start figuring it out now and have a plan moving forward that can always adapt if more money is coming in.
Correct. Councilmember Lister?
I'm hearing this discussion, and I guess I personally would advocate for option 1.5, which, to be very honest, I mean, basically, option 2 says we're just going to leave it the way it is, and 47 people on the waiting list, we're going to have to wait for people to fall off, and then you can come on. And that bothers me that we have 47 people right now who have been vetted and are in need of services. At the very least, I would like to take it to 150 Meals on Wheels, maybe 160. So we basically say maybe 15 more, or whatever, recognizing we're talking maybe then our additional funds needed becomes 300,000, whatever that calculation is. I really do see that in a year's time, we're going to go to use CDBG funds. We have COA willing to come up with $100,000, so that means our obligation would be maybe about 200,000 to get it to that level. And I think that this year we are aware that there is possibly surplus. It's not going to be in the year going forward, but in the following year, we'll have CDBG funds to put towards it. So anyway, that's my recommendation is 1.5.
If I may.
Councilmember Rhodes?
The one thing that we discussed the last time that this came up, and it's very real, and that is it's very hard to take someone off once you have them on, to deny them a meal that they had been getting.
Sure.
And committing to a level that may or may not be sustainable. I know it's only, what, $33,000 more, but to get to 300. But I want us to be careful not to get people onto the program and then have to later say, sorry, we were wrong. So being cautious moving forward. I'm not saying your idea is not a correct one to get some more people on. I'm just saying.
I hear you. The only I just want to remind you the way we got down is through natural attrition, and I hate to use that word, but unfortunately, the nature of this program is that there are people that.
Yeah, we got from 90 to 45 because many went away or
Right.
found resources somewhere else, and so so I get it. But now I think we actually have a vetted list, which is good. I was a little skeptical of the last one.
So were all 90 of the people on the existing waiting list contacted, and it dropped down to the 47
It did,
that are
and there-
qualified?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
about 20 that we attempted to make a couple calls, and they
Okay.
never called back. But
So we're
if
pretty
they
sure-
did call back, they could, they're still there. But
Okay. So, but as we drop, we could pick up off of the waiting list. So I understand where you're coming from, Councilmember Lister, but maybe at this time we stay with the number we know and then wait and see what's happening in this next year. We also get our funding from Waste Management on a yearly basis, that we could always use some of that too. So I think the funding will be there, and/or it's just a matter of getting us through this year. Let's revamp and look at different situations, like Councilmember Rhodes said, possibly breaking the two out. Would that be beneficial? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But at least it gives us some time. So do we want a motion?
Do we need a motion, or is that just direction to staff? All right.
Motion.
I'll motion for option 2. Is that okay? The current meal program service level, 235 meals a day. Meals on Wheel, 135, congregate 100. But instead of the no wait list inclusion, we would keep it at 135.
Second.
What isn't in that motion is the funding alternatives available for fiscal year 2025-26. Is that going to be part of this motion? If you look at what's in the staff report, we have the city can budget up to 372,000. We have number 2 choice, that the COA can commit to 100,000 with the general fund absorbing 272. We have the third option, the city and the COA can commit to fundraise that 100,000 per year and reallocate, et cetera, for next year. Should that be part of the motion?
I figured we just leave that up to staff to figure out.
It would be helpful if we can just have it in the motion that the council is supportive of staff pursuing CDBG when that becomes available, as well as working with the COA for fundraising options as well.
Okay, then I'll amend my motion to include that.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
I'm not going to vote no, but I sure would like more.
The motion passes unanimously.
We can always add if we get more money.
Well, I want us to be sure this comes forward so we have that option. And I would love to know what the true need is as people get on the wait list, et cetera.
And I believe that we've also, because we know that there's the 10% that call out, that we've kind of allowed for that. So we really, I think, have added an additional 8 or 10 that,
Okay.
we're maximizing everything.
You are.
Please keep doing it.
You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you for all of our Meals on Wheels volunteers, too.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council Member Reports.
Councilmember Ayala, your first official report.
Yes, now 2 weeks ago, you said that you had 2 talkers up here. I'm warning you, you found a third. Yes. So on February 26th, I attended the Chamber's Legislative Advocacy Forum. It was a great presentation by Melissa Gillard, our Chief Marketing Officer at the Reagan Library. And it was really good to hear of all the great things that are happening there. And I think that sometimes we take for granted, because we live here, of all the good things that are happening at the Reagan Library. So I would encourage people to look at the website. She has a lot of great speakers that are coming up over the next couple of months. On March 3rd, I attended the Chamber staff meeting, and it was great to hear all of the good stuff they're doing. And one of the things I wanted to share was a nice success story of they did their job fair, which was on a Tuesday. And one story that a woman shared with them was that she had been unemployed for 6 months. She went to the job fair. She got 8 appointments while at that job fair on Tuesday. And by Friday, just 4 days later, she had a job. And so I think that's a great story, and I think it's also great and a reminder for those of us in the city that are in a hiring position, that when a job fair does come up, that you do take the time to be there and be willing to interview and hire people who live in the city, because this was a great success story that I learned about. On March 4th, I started my commitment to learn about public works, as I did in my interview. So I wanted to make sure and follow through with that commitment. So I took a tour of both the sanitation and water departments, and it was really great to hear from them. I was really interested to learn about the capital improvement program funds and how they're being used, and really see it in action and understand how that works. And I'm really big into preventive maintenance, because I think it's really important, because it saves us money down the road. And I was excited to hear about the new ViewWorks program. It's a web-enabled GIS system, Geographic Information System, that's about to be turned on. And what it does for them is it tracks their conditions of things like pipes and other equipment to minimize failure and risk. So they're able to proactively see what's going on in the city with the new system, and it's going to be really great for them and really help them move forward with that new system. On March 6th, I attended the Neighborhood Council meeting, and my takeaway from that, beyond just the great things they're doing, is they did an interview skills workshop for 1,500 sophomores in the city of Simi Valley, 1,500. And as a sophomore, right, getting those skills now before they even get their first job is a great skill to have, right? People need it when they're 30, 40, and 50 still. So for us to be able to have that youth employment service that does those types of programs for the students, I thought was really encouraging, and I really look forward to supporting the Youth Employment Service Program in the future, just because they're doing a lot of great things. Thank you.
I was just about to start the timer and you finished.
Councilmember Rhodes.
My report will be considerably shorter this week. I spent from the morning following our last council meeting until Wednesday night, I was in China. I got back Wednesday night so that I could not go home, go downtown LA, and wake up to go to my SCAG and Clean Power Alliance meetings. SCAG is comprised of 3 different meetings. Others on the dais are part of it. The Community Economic and Human Development, for which I'm vice chair. We have revamped the agendas for our committees at SCAG to concentrate on resiliency based on the fact of the fires that have taken so many of our neighborhoods. We had a little bit of conversation about rebuild, but emphasis on resiliency. What do we do moving forward? And I appreciate SCAG's leadership in trying to figure out those things that prepare us for the next one. We had 2 speakers, Mr. Dennis Wick, or Tennis Wick, and he was talking about his experience in Sonoma rebuilding from the fires, and was actually congratulatory to our area on the mutual aid that we are giving each other to make sure that we can rebuild from this particular one. But one of the things that he has, and I've asked our staff at SCAG to produce in a toolkit, is best practices for city ordinances and resolutions that should take place before the next fire hits Simi Valley. And so we're going to distribute that toolkit everywhere, and I'll personally champion it here as a test for what we may already have everything that we need in place, but we can at least look at best practices from other places so that we are prepared. There was regional council and budget. Clean Power Alliance. Clean Power Alliance was also a budget meeting where we approved the budget moving forward. They're now over $1 billion a year organization, which is interesting. And up until this past meeting, it has been a board works for free board, the no stipend at all, and there was some vigorous discussion about whether a stipend should be added. Myself and one other board member were the only 2 that voted no, that if 100 and whatever dollars are going to come back, and if that's what draws you, the talent, you're drawing the wrong talent. But so that there will be now a stipend. It's unclear what it'll be. Staff will bring that back, but that was maybe the most significant vote from that. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Lister.
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh. On Tuesday, February the 25th, I went to Burrowwood Elementary and read to the 5th graders. Part of the Read Across America action that is, and Simi Valley Unified School District is very involved with that. My takeaway is that even 5th graders like to have picture books read to them. So I want you to know that. Keep reading to your kids of all ages. It was a great experience. On Wednesday, February 26th, I too, along with Councilmember Ayala, attended the Chamber Legislative meeting. I just wanted to add one more thing to Melissa Giller's report. It was very fast, very informative, and of course she spoke about the Dead Sea Scroll exhibit that's taking place. One of the things that I didn't realize that I learned in that conversation is that exhibit is rotated every 3 months because the scrolls need to be kept, they cannot be subject to the light for more than 3 months. And so they just switched the exhibit. So I say that if you caught it last time, go back, it's different. But I think she mentioned that last periods, the big draw was that they had a Psalms, actually scroll some of the Psalms. This one now they have some of the writings of Isaiah. But anyway, so she said it really is amazing that we have that at our disposal. So please take advantage of it. Thursday, February 27th, I attended the Samaritan Center Volunteer Appreciation Dinner, basically on behalf of the city. They were saying thank you to the city, so I showed up. But it was very well done, and it was good to see the statistics of those that they've helped, and to see the many volunteers that make that that work to make that successful. And so thank you to Anna and Annie and all the others that were there in attendance. Saturday, March 1st, I know that all of us that were in town attended Fred Thomas's beautiful remembrance ceremony, and I just want to say thank you to staff. Thank you, Heather, and those who just worked so hard to make it a very successful, moving, meaningful event. It was just beautifully done outside, and so it just was very. He is missed. It was clear that Fred is missed by many, many different people, and contributed in so many ways to our community. And so I just wanted to say thank you for the city for putting that together and allowing us to grieve and celebrate together.
Councilwoman, can I interject for one moment on that?
Yes.
I was not able to attend because I was in China, and for staff and the county resources that were able to live stream that, thank you so much. I was able to participate even remotely, so thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it really, really was wonderful. I'm glad to know you were able to see that as well. I know you wanted to be there. I was in Idaho with my mother for a couple quick days, but on Thursday returned, attended remotely the SCAG's Energy and Environment Policy Committee. One of my takeaways from that is they spoke about climate resilient districts, funding mechanisms for them. And in other words, it's kind of like redevelopment agency money, but you can specifically now use it for climate resilience needs. What is particularly interesting about it is that this particular type of district can actually, the funds can also be used for operations, not just for infrastructure, which most districts that, you know, you can get bonds or et cetera for, it can only be used to build the objects. This can be used for ongoing operations so please, maybe we should look at that in our arsenal of resources. That night, Thursday night, I am now a member of the Simi Valley Police Citizens Academy. I think Chief Short said, Councilmember Litzler, you need to get educated, and so I am getting educated. It was very well done. Congratulations to the mayor, who gave a very great opening remarks. The chief had great things to say, and I learned even more about our SWAT team, and so I may be reporting regularly the things I learned in the Police Citizens Academy. It was very good. And then weekend was just great things happening in Simi Valley, everything from Simi youth soccer to being part of the Westlake Symphony, et cetera. So it was, anyway, great things happening in our community, and appreciate everyone's efforts. That's my report.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Judge.
Thank you. On Saturday, March 1st, I want to thank the city also, staff, city manager, county people that helped with the live stream, the folks that were there for Fred's memorial. I liked it. It was very moving. It was a good tribute to him. On Friday, March 7th, I attended the VCTC meeting in Camarillo, and we discussed our motorist aid program and our call boxes. Apparently, the people that contract and build our call boxes or maintain the system have violated their contracts several times and basically don't care. So we're trying to find other ways to make the call box system functional with either going with a new contractor or something else. But the loopholes in the bureaucracy with the state, mostly with Caltrans and the CHP, because they only authorize this one vendor to put call boxes on the freeway. So he's kind of got the whole state over a barrel when it comes to call boxes. So we're trying to figure out a way to make that program work, because there's only a couple areas in our highway system here in Ventura County where call boxes are necessary, because most of our freeways are covered by cellular service, except for just a couple places. So we're working on trying to figure out something with that, and I'll be coming forward with a discussion on that hopefully. So it was a very lengthy and robust discussion at VCTC. As far as our motorist aid program is going, though, it's going great. If you haven't had a chance to use it, good. If you have had a chance to use it, I hope you were satisfied, because I think it's a great program. We are going to add a couple more routes for the trucks so that they're on the highway more often. Right now, our stretch of the 118 between the Valley and Moore Park is the most used, or the most, where they have most calls for service. And so I'm glad Simi Valley's taken advantage of it. Like Eric, or like Martin said when he came up, they give you a free gallon of gas if you run out of gas, or if you blow a tire, they'll change it for you. So it's a great service, and I hope we keep it going. And so far, like I said, everybody's talking about funding nowadays, especially SCAG and VCTC, because, you know, there's a lot of talk, stuff being up in the air. But they're pretty serious about our budget this year. The budget will maintain the same as it was last year, so none of this should change. So that's a good thing. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Judge. On Saturday, March 1st, I attended the opening day for Simi Youth Baseball, and I only did it because they gave me a parking spot. I was joking with them. I said, okay, I can be there at 9, but I need a parking spot so I can get back to the Remembrance here at 11 and then back to watch my grandson play ball at 1:45. So it was a busy day. But opening day was great. They unofficially named the little slip of road that comes off of Irvine Road into the ballpark as Ty Hansen Way. He's been the president there for quite a few years, 4 kids through the league, and he was very, very touched and very honored. It was great. It was a great event. That was my first time at Simi Youth. They didn't wear tutus like they do at Simi Girls, but it was still very, very much fun. The remembrance for Fred, yes, for former Mayor Fred Thomas was wonderful. The speakers, everyone did a great job. Everyone on the dais up here also. Thank you, City Manager Argabright and staff and Heather. You guys did a great job putting everything together. It was wonderful. I saw so many compliments on social media afterwards from everybody, from family, from friends, from people far away being able to see it. So thank you all for that. It was very important. On Wednesday, March 5th, I had the opportunity to do Read Across America at Atherwood. They did an evening event where the kids came at 5:30, 5:45, and wore their pajamas and brought their little blankets or pillows, and then they went to different rooms. And so they got to choose from like 5 rooms. Sergeant Frady's was in one room, some firefighters were in another room, and the mayor. And so I was in one room, and these kids would come in and they just look at me, and they come in, they sit down, I go, you were thinking it was going to be a boy, weren't you? And they all said, uh-huh. But it was a lot of fun. It was a very cute job. They were more impressed that I live across the street from the teacher than that I was mayor. Yeah, I lived near Ms. Oliver, so that was a big thing. But that was a lot of fun. And then the following morning, on Thursday, March 6th, I went to Hollow Hills to Read Across America. A young lady by the name of Lindsay, I think it was Lindsay Salinas, organized a program. She's working on her iOS. It's the program at Royal for her civics, something to do with civics. So she has a special project she's doing, and she is doing it with reading and elementary school students. And so she did a whole workup, reporting, statistics, and then she asked me to come read. So I got to read to kindergartners, very cute. They were a lot of fun. And then I had a 4th grade class come in, and I'm reading the book, and Ms. Gagne gave me a really good book to read. And I looked down, and I see this little face, and I said, "Are you a Gibran?" It was Kareem Gibran's daughter, and I just recognized her, and she goes, "Uh-huh." I said, "I know your dad." But it was really, really cute. I really enjoyed it because they didn't believe me, but I went to Hollow Hills 50 years ago, the first year it was open. So the kids were like, "You're that old? You're that old?" I said, "But yeah." But they got a kick out of the fact that I had gone there before. That night, I had the pleasure of opening the Citizens Academy, and I made sure everybody knew Councilmember Litzler was there, and they could ask her questions whenever they wanted. So, but it looks like it's a great group. I always enjoy that group. Janet Segi does a wonderful job putting that on and keeps everybody on their toes, informed, and they have a really good time at the same time. So that's it for my report. Do we have any future agenda items from anybody? Okay, here comes the sad part of the job here. Is I hope some of you had the honor to watch the procession we had over the weekend for our fallen firefighter. So we're adjourning in memory of VCF Fire Engineer Tommy James Daniel Minadio. So thank you. We're adjourned.